What's up guys, Meredith with ExtremeTerrain.com, and today we are checking out the Bushwhacker Hyperform flat style fender flares for the front and rear, fitting all 2018 and newer 4-door JL Wranglers. Now if you like the look and function of a plastic flare, but you would rather have a slimmer build for more clearance and a premium appearance to them, this set's going to be right up your alley. Now this set of flares will resemble the factory flares in the shape and the detailing. However, they're going to be a skinnier version of them to offer the Jeep some better clearance, whether you're looking to get a larger tire or just want the extra room if you're taking your Jeep off-road. Now that OE Plus look and the slim and sleek lighting that is included in this kit is going to add a more modern look and blend very well with other LED accessories that you may already have. Now these will basically be a slender version of the factory flares with the structured appearance to the flare instead of being just a simple flat design like some other more entry-level choices. And these will also be more narrow than factory for a wider appearance to the Jeep. Now these will come out from the body of the Jeep roughly 11 inches up front, and it's going to taper down to about 8.5 inches. And in the rear, this will come out from the body of the Jeep about 5 inches, still offering protective coverage, just with the addition of a more aggressive appearance. Now very similar to the Rubicon flares, these will also offer 2 inches of additional upward clearance, giving you much more room than the factory ones, considering that flatter design allowing room to flex pretty far without making contact with your tire in the fender. And you will have a cutout at the top of the flare for the hood latch for zero interference. Now the fiber optic style LED light bar on the front will also just add more of that premium appearance than other traditional styled LED lights or other traditional style marker lights, and they will feature a sequential function for the turn signal, integrating a bit more character into the design. They also will have a smoked lens on the front, which is going to add more of that aggressive appearance to the lighting and create more of a cohesive look for the front. These are made of a Duraflex 2000 TPO material, so these are just going to be a durable plastic material, and for what they are going to be pretty tough. Now compared to a steel flare, these aren't going to be completely invincible. They are still plastic, but these are going to be much lighter than steel flares and hold up very well to lighter hits and impacts off-road, constant tire kick-up and debris, and holding up very well to the elements over time, being UV resistant to keep that dark new look. These will also have a factory style texture to the plastic, which is going to blend very well with other factory plastic accessories, but you do have the choice to color match these with the right prep, prime, and paint process if you do want to create a cohesive appearance with your Jeep when it comes to the paint code. Now the LEDs will also be tough in more of a long-lasting way thanks to the low energy draw, even with the high output construction. Now Bushwhacker does mention that the hyperflash or DRL error may show on the dash after starting the vehicle, but the vehicle's computer system should cycle it away after a day or two of normal driving. These will also include 2 resistors in the kit to eliminate any hyperflashing and an OE style plug, so you're not going to have to do any additional wiring. Now this set's going to come in at about $700 for the front and the rear flares. I only have 2 on the table because of their size, but that is going to be a little bit more than the average plastic flare, however for good reason. Now the flat style construction and the OE Plus appearance, especially with the good looking DRL and the additional clearance that you get with these like the factory Rubicon flares, really makes sense when it comes to that price point compared to other basic choices. Now this also comes with everything that you need in the kit and OE style plugs, so you're not going to have to do any additional work or track down a matching rear set if you don't want to. And I specifically think if you want a plastic option for the flexibility that they provide as well as the appearance, and you want a clean and well-built choice, these are definitely a set that you're going to want to check out. Now the install is going to be a lighter 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, but it's not going to require any modification if you aren't using the factory liner. If you are using the factory liner, you will have to modify that a little bit in order to fit with these liners. Now the wiring will also be simple, again with everything needed for a plug-and-play install, probably taking about 2 hours, give or take, to get the job done. Now at this point we can head over to our shop and check out a detailed breakdown on how you can get these onto your JL at home. So that is going to wrap it up for my review. Let's jump into the install.
The tools you'll need for this project are a ratchet, a 10 and a 13mm socket, a trim panel removal tool, a 13mm wrench, a 4mm Allen key, a pair of side cutters, a utility knife or razor blade, possibly a drill, and possibly a 5/16 drill bit. You'll also need some alcohol prep pads, the included adhesion promoter, and you'll need to source some zip ties. Hi everyone. Today we're installing a set of fender flares on our Wrangler, so let's get started with the uninstall of the stock fenders first. All right, as you can see, we've got our wheels off of our Jeep right now. You can do this with the wheels on, however, it does make life a lot easier if you've got them off. So once you've got your vehicle properly supported and the wheels removed, what we're going to do next is remove a series of 7 push clips that are holding the inner fender liner in, and then there's 3 bolts up top that we have to remove, so we'll be using our 10mm socket for those. So let's go ahead and get those push clips out. So we've got one right here in the front, just inside the lip of the fender. We'll use our trim removal tool, pop that out, and we've got 3 up along the side here. So we'll go ahead and get those removed as well. We've got one tucked up in the corner right here. And then we've got 2 in the back of the fender liner here. Now with those removed, we can use our 10mm socket to remove 3 bolts here, here, and here. Now, the next thing we need to do is pull back our fender liner here and then reach up back in this area right here underneath the fender liner and disconnect your turn signal and your parking light connector. So we just go ahead and pull our liner down like so. And then the connector is back up here in the corner. And it's attached to the vehicle itself. So in order to get to this, what you're going to have to do is reach in there, and there's a red locking tab that you have to pull out so that you can push up on the release tab. So let's go ahead and get that disconnected. So here is your red release locking tab. Go ahead and just slide that out a little bit. Now it's not going to come all the way out, but it will release. Once you do that, go ahead and push up on the black release tab and go ahead and disconnect your lights. Now while we've got our fender liner pulled down, there are 2 more bolts, one right here and one right here that we need to remove. So we'll go ahead and use our 10mm socket again and get those out of the way. Now with our bolts removed, we can go ahead and pull our fender straight out and remove it. Now to remove the fender, we're just going to go ahead and grab a hold of it at the front, pull it straight out. It may require some effort to actually pull it out, and you may lose some of the clips that are holding this to the vehicle. If that happens, don't worry about it. We'll take what's left of them out. The new kit does come with new clips. Now, as you can see, we did lose a couple of our clips here. Not a big deal. You can try and reach up in here and push on the back side of it to release one side and see if you can get that to come out. If not, go ahead and use your trim removal tool and get underneath it. Being careful, of course, not to scratch your paint. And go ahead and get those removed. Do the whole process. Like I said, don't worry about if they're breaking. They've got new clips in the new kit. Now the rear is going to be very similar to the front. We've got a series of push clips that we have to remove. There's a total of 8. Now, some of ours are missing. They're on back order right now. So using the trim removal tool, we'll go ahead and remove those push clips. We've got one right here in the front. And then we've got 4 across the side here. And we've got 1 in the back, and then there's 2 up here in the top of the fender liner. Once you get those out, just like the front, we're going to go ahead and grab a hold of our fender and pull it straight out. All right, so just like the front as well, you can use your trim removal tool or a small flathead screwdriver. If you lift up the edge, you can press down on the release clip there. We'll go ahead and remove those as well. Now at this point, the manufacturer recommends that we disconnect the negative terminal on our battery as well as the grounds on the fender here. So we'll use our 10mm socket to loosen up this nut here and remove this one here and get those grounded cables separated. We'll pull it off, get it out of the way. Now we'll remove this secondary ground here. Go ahead and pull those off. And then you can also put like a rag or a cloth or something in there to make sure that it doesn't come back to ground. Now at this point, before we install our new fenders, the manufacturer says if you're going to reuse your OEM fender liner, then you're going to have to remove it from the fender, obviously. And to do that, you'll use a 5/16 drill bit and drill out these plastic rivets here on the edge of your fender. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and remove the fender liner, and then what you'll do is place it back in place, and you can use a couple of the clips, the push pins to hold it in place. And then what you will do is using some sort of a marker, either tape or a Sharpie, something like that, and go along the edge of the vehicle and draw a line on the fender liner itself. The reason for that is you're going to have to cut the fender liner in order for it to fit with the new fenders. So you go ahead and make your line on the outside of your fender liner and then use whatever tool you have available, a Dremel or a cutoff wheel, something like that, and go ahead and trim that line off so that we can use it on the new fenders. Now, because we're not making this a permanent addition to our vehicle, we're not actually going to do that, so we're going to not put the fender liners in. We're just going to go ahead and install our new fenders. Now, at this point, I would recommend go ahead and install your wheel liners, either the OEM ones that you cut earlier and trimmed down, or the aftermarket ones, whichever you prefer. But like I also said, we're not doing that this time. We're just focusing on installing our fenders themselves. So we're not going to have any fender liners on our vehicle. That being said, once you've got your wheel liners in, now it's time to go ahead and apply some adhesion promoter and this rubber foam pad to help protect the paint from the side of the fender once you get it installed. So to start with, we're going to use an alcohol prep pad. Now you can use rubbing alcohol that you buy at your local pharmacy and a clean cloth. And just clean the surface to make sure that it's going to adhere to the tape and the adhesion promoter. So we're just going to go ahead and wipe this down on this top edge here. Do the same thing on the lower edge here. And you'll want to do the same procedure for the front and the rear fender flares themselves. Now, once you've got it clean, give that a couple of minutes, let that alcohol dry up, and then we'll go ahead and apply our adhesion promoter. All right, now that everything's dried up, we go ahead and take our adhesion promoter, open up the tube, and then flip the tube around. There's a point on the one end. Go ahead and insert that into the end of the tube to puncture the seal. Now, once you've got that opened, now you go ahead and apply the adhesion promoter about 1/4 of an inch from the top edge of your flare. Go ahead and run that down. And then you can use something like a microfiber cloth or a small sponge and just spread that out smoothly. And give that about 30 seconds depending on the temperature. Should be about 65 to 70 degrees for you to apply this. Now, once you've got that spread out, then we can take our foam tape and we'll go ahead and get this applied. To do that, we're just going to remove the backing off of the back of it. All right, we're only going to remove part of it right now, just so we're not having this thing stick to everything that it touches. And then, like I said, starting at about 1/4 of an inch below the top edge of the flare, go ahead and lay the tape down. And just work your way down. Take your time. Work it around the corner here a little bit. And then when you get to this opening, you can go ahead and trim that off using a utility knife or a razor blade, a pair of scissors, whatever you've got. And just trim that off. Like so. Then just go ahead and run your fingers back along it, give it nice even pressure, and press that down. Then we'll go ahead and finish installing this on the lower edge. And then go ahead and trim that off as well. And like I said, you're going to want to do this on the front and the rear fenders themselves. And once we've got our tape in place, next thing we're going to do is install the supplied clips to retain it to the vehicle itself. And these just snap right in. So you're just going to grab it, make sure that the locking portion is on the inside where the fender is going to meet the actual body. So we'll go ahead and just snap that into place, just like so. And you want to do this procedure for the rear fender flare as well. With that being said, now we can go ahead and get this installed on the vehicle. Now you'll notice on this flare that we've got an alignment pin here in the center of the top portion. That's going to go into this hole right here. So we'll go ahead and line everything up, make sure it's ready to go in, and then we'll just push this in and snap it into place. Make sure all of our holes are lined up. And let's go ahead and push them into place. All right. And now you can repeat this process for the rear. Now we're going to go ahead and install our support stanchion at the lower edge of our flare. Now these are side specific, so you need to make sure that when you grab this, you'll notice that there are some grooves in here, some angles on it, and they're going to match up with what's on the body. Right down here in this section here, you've got a couple of beads that go up, they're angled, they will match the beads in the stanchion. You're going to want to put some adhesion promoter on this flat space here at the top, because this is going to go in like this, and this is going to attach to the flare itself. Now the kit supplies you with some double-sided tape. Now we've already cut ours to fit onto this space. So you go ahead and once the adhesion promoter is set up, go ahead and remove the yellow backing, apply it to the support piece, press it down real good, and then you can use your trim, either your utility knife or your scissors, and just trim that to match the angle on this top of the support stanchion. Now that we've got it to match up, we can go ahead and get this installed. And the kit does provide you with these M6 bolts, flat washers, and the nuts to go along with them. So the bottom one, when you install this, the bottom one is just going to use a regular flat washer, go inside there, and then it's going to go inside this lower hole right here on the body. Now the upper bolt is going to use a flat washer on the bolt side, and then an oversized washer to go on the back side because of the size of the hole that's there. So if you just push this through, it will go all the way through that hole, but it's going to sit low on it, so it'll just grab the edge of it. So we go ahead and get this installed. So we've got our bolt with our flat washer there. Put our nut on the back side. And then we'll install our bolt with our flat washer on this side, and then put our large flat washer and our nut on the back side. All right, so we'll go ahead and install our bolt. Put our large flat washer on the back side. And then put our nut to hold everything in place. And we're not going to tighten those down just yet because we still need to attach our fender to our support stanchion. Now to do that, what we're going to do is just slightly pull away our fender flare here, and then using the edge of our blade, we'll go ahead and start removing the backing material on the double-sided tape. Now once you've got one edge of it pulled up, go ahead and finish removing the backing material, and then press the fender onto the support stanchion. Once that's attached, now we can go ahead and tighten down our two bolts. Now we can use our 4mm Allen key to go ahead and tighten those down. Now we can go ahead and assemble our DRL and turn signal to our supplied bracket, making sure, of course, because these are both side specific, so when you're looking at it, we got the Bushwhacker logo towards the center of the vehicle, and this curved section of the light is towards the outside, so it'll fit right into our opening in our fender. Now the other thing that goes along with this is that they supply 3 different size screws. You've got a short, a medium, and a long screw. And based upon the way that the bracket is set up with the light, the shortest one is going to be on the outside, the middle one goes in the middle, and the long one goes on the inside. So we'll get these started. Put our long one on the inside, our medium length one in the center, and our short one on outside. Now using our number 2 Phillips screwdriver, we'll go ahead and tighten those down and secure the light to the bracket. All right, now we can go ahead and insert our bracket into our vehicle, and we're going to be reusing these two brackets that are already on the vehicle, and they're going to line up with these two holes on our light bracket. So we'll set these up. The light bracket actually sits on top of the two on the vehicle. We'll slide this into place, making sure that our light goes into the opening in the fender. Now, using the supplied M8 hardware, we've got these short bolts with a flat washer that's going to go up through the bottom of the vehicle bracket into the light bracket, and then we'll install another flat washer on the top, and one of the nylock nuts to secure everything in place. We'll do the same thing for the top bracket. Now make sure everything is in position inside the fender, and we can tighten this down using a 13mm socket and a 13mm wrench. All right, now we can take our harness from our light and plug it into the original factory harness back here in the back of our fender. So just like the other one, it does have a locking tab on it. So we'll go ahead and make sure that that is pulled out. Go ahead and insert it into our factory harness, and then push in on the gray tab to lock it into place. Now that we're plugged in, we can go ahead and secure our harness to these remaining brackets from the factory. So we'll use a couple of zip ties. Actually, we'll put that on top. Tighten that zip tie down. Run another one towards the back. Secure that. And then we'll take the excess wiring from our harness on our light, wrap that up nice and neat, and secure that with another zip tie. Now you can go ahead and cut off the excess with a pair of side cutters. And now you can repeat this process for the other side. All right, our next step is going to be to install this support bracket on the front of our fender here, attached to our light bracket. Now these are side specific, so you need to make sure that if you're working on the driver's side, as you're looking at the bracket from the bottom here, that the inside of the bracket here at the angle at the top is going to be taller than the angle on the bottom. So it's going to come down from the inside. It's going to be taller on the inside and shorter on the outside. Now you're also going to need to put some double-sided tape. Now we've already cut ours and applied it here so that we can get this over and done quickly. Now we've already applied our double-sided tape here just to make it go a little bit quicker right now. Now you're going to be using two of these square shoulder bolts from here, and you're going to install them from the front side of the light bracket. Now there's two square holes that you can see. It's a little difficult to see right now because it is installed already. So you're going to be doing this almost blind from the inside of the fender here. So the flat side of the shoulder bolt is going to be towards the front of the vehicle, and it's going to be like this once you get it installed. Now we've already installed our two bolts into the bracket just because of the fact that it does take a little bit of patience and a little bit of perseverance to be able to get this in, because the clearances inside are very tight. Now one recommendation I can make is once you do get these placed inside, put a little piece of tape on the back side of it to hold it to the bracket while you're installing your support bracket. That way it's not going to fall out and you're not going to have to start all over again. That being said, let's go ahead and get our bracket installed. So we've got our 2 bolts here installed, and I have put tape on the back side of those to hold them in place. Now we can go ahead and place our support bracket over those 2 bolts. And then what you're going to want to do is take note of where the top of the support bracket touches the inside of the fender. Once you've got that figured out, go ahead and remove your bracket, apply some of the adhesion promoter to the top of the fender, and then go ahead and pull this out. Once you've got it over the 2 bolts, go ahead and take a note of where this support bracket touches the inside of the fender. Once you've got that figured out, go ahead and remove your bracket, apply some adhesion promoter, and then remove the backing off of the double-sided tape on the support bracket. Once you've got that done, go ahead and reinstall it, and then using a flat washer and one of the nylock nuts that are supplied in the kit, go ahead and put them over the bolts. Very carefully get them started to make sure you don't push the bolt through. And then once you've got the nuts started, go ahead and press down on the top of the fender and the bottom of the support bracket, making sure that they adhere to each other. Once they're stuck together, you can go ahead and take your 13mm socket and tighten them down. With our installation complete, we can now go ahead and reconnect our battery. So we'll start by our ground cables here on the side of the fender. Tighten that down with our 10mm socket. Reconnect our negative on our battery and tighten that down with our 10mm socket.
So that's going to wrap it up for my review and the install of the Bushwhacker Hyperform flat style fender flares for the front and rear, fitting all 2018 and newer 4-door JL Wranglers, and you can find these right here at extremeterrain.com.